There are hidden agendas of things going on behind the scenes that lead us to believe and leave us to have this conflict with each other, not knowing who the real enemy is. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you what that hidden agenda is, my perspectives on it at least, and then exactly what we must know about what is called the Great Awakening, which I believe is happening right now. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm gonna be revealing to you some of the hidden agendas, things I think are going on behind the scenes. And with all of it having a certain intention that is still the same as what happened at the beginning of the year. Now, let me first off say this. It's not that what happened at the beginning of the year didn't exist at all. It's just that what happened was there was this thing that was happening, and the media and the intention was to put people in such a mass amount of fear so that then they remained powerless. Then they didn't remember, then they remain in a very controllable level of consciousness where then they could also bring through different things that then would keep us safe. And I'll explain a little bit more about this problem, reaction, solution mentality they work with. And the idea is this is the level of consciousness. We've got love, reasoning, willingness, anger, fear. If you keep people in anger and fear, they're much more easily able to be controlled. Now, in the same way, what is happening right now is we look out into the world, and yes, racism does exist. That is a thing that exists. But what is happening is there are things that are being instigated at different levels. There are people that are undercover. There are people that are financing, some people that are instigating and causing much more problems than there needs to be in order to keep, once again, people feeling separate. We think that this is us against us. We think this is black versus white. Now, yes, racism exists, but what we're doing is, I also believe that at a certain level, these ancestral wounds are coming up for us to look at, for us to deal with, to let go, to decide that judging people based on the color of their skin is not acceptable, and that a certain group of people have been treated wrongly for such a long period of time. However, the other side of this, though, is why is it that there are bricks being laid out in different places at these protests and as these riots? Literally people seeing forklifts bring over these bricks, lay them down conveniently for people to then pick up and throw. Why are people there's videos on Instagram of this, of people at riots saying, we did not vandalize that cop car. We did not even put that there. That cop car was brought in with graffiti already on it. Why would that be? Well, there's a certain narrative. When you could put it on camera, you can put it on the media and make it look a certain way, it then has people feeling, oh, this stuff is even worse than it is. But then also, people are being instigated and provoked to be even more rowdy when there's many, many, many peaceful interactions. Even, I mean, there's ones online of cops and black people hugging. There's ones of where there were 5 or 6 black gentlemen that were literally like protecting a cop that got separated from his group. Very good feeling things that you're not seeing everywhere. You're not seeing on the news, at least, on mainstream media. Now, when we talk about this, some of the things that are happening is those things may be there. The hidden agenda behind this is there's a guy, Soros, George Soros, who, if you look into this, you'll see, and you could follow that there's a pattern this guy has with doing things like this, with funding, and he's been kicked out of, I think, 6 different countries, but part of an organization, or in a way controlling things so that it then gets to a place to where these things become much worse than they are. Then what happens is you've got, one interesting thing that's happening right now is when this whole Blackout Tuesday thing happened, where there was the black square and everyone is gonna post the black square. Now, first off, a hidden agenda, again, this is gonna sound esoteric to many people. But I don't know if you remember, I have another hidden agenda video where I talk about the post of like Tom Hanks, for example. Tom Hanks had a post on his Instagram a long time ago where after he got what he got, and you can't say it for some reason on YouTube without it immediately doing something to the video. But basically what happened is he flew across the country, or flew to a different country, flew to Australia, then got this thing, then was sick, but then just so happened to have a typewriter that was the brand name of exactly what's going on in the world. That same typewriter was also used in Madonna's, or that same style typewriter was also used in Madonna's music video. And what they do is there's this group of people, we call them the elite, or whatever we call them, but they get up together, and what they do is, because they have such large audiences and such a large amount of attention, what they then do is they do what you call like rituals that then charge objects with energy. They then do and have these things that influence our collective consciousness. You see, there's people, these elite people, they know that there's this collective consciousness that we're all connected to. And if they can in a way infiltrate and put in subconscious things into that collective consciousness, they can then have us actually allow things into our reality. I know this sounds esoteric, but there's a lot of evidence that shows they know things like this. Even that Tom Hanks post, it was posted at exactly 1717 military time. And if you look to the words that were used in there, it was to try to bring through some type of agenda, also related to Bill Gates. So it's interesting. Now, when we look at some of these other things, Blackout Tuesday. Blackout Tuesday. Now, an interesting thing about it is, of course, it was being shared so many times. And the idea, if you're unaware, is on Instagram, posting a black box on your Instagram and saying we're going to remain silent, when in fact I think that people of color, black people, I think all people think their voice matters every single day, not just one day that we decide to dedicate. I think that this is something that needs to change from this point going forward, not just one day. Now, that's just a side note. The other aspect of this, though, when I look at this, just from what I know with some of the other posts and some of the other symbolisms they use, is Blackout Tuesday. Could it be that somehow they're trying to allow us to, in a way, agree to some type of blackout, maybe some type of electricity blackout? I don't know. All I'm saying is I'm very much paying attention to there seems to be something else there. And I know some people could look like, oh, you're just looking into it too much. No, I think that there's something else there that we're not necessarily seeing when it comes to this. That's just the feeling I get. That's just the feeling I get. Now, the way that our reality works is we come to earth, we forget who we are, so then we can remember who we are. And what happens is there are people on the planet that in a way know this, but then they have some twisted beliefs that are linked up to some very dark stuff. What they want to do is they want to keep people in low vibration so that they can continue to control things. Now, though, the Great Awakening that's happening right now, it's working in our favor. I want you to know that. If you're watching this video right now, you are on a more positive timeline where so many people are waking up that they have to then go through and pull out their cards and do all of these other things. Oh, this thing at the beginning of the year didn't affect as many people as we'd hoped, so now we got to bring through and we got to have this other thing. We need to start this race going on in this separation, because the more divided we are, the less powerful we are, when in fact I believe we are waking up at such a fast pace that this is their desperate attempt to continue to remain in control. And here's what I think as well. It's very interesting that on Blackout Tuesday, the Hillary trials were also starting. There were posts all over social media about this. And if you don't know, the Clintons are involved. There's some very dark stuff. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes right now that aren't being talked about. But I believe that part of this has to do with the Clintons going to trial. Of course, it's not talked about in the media. That's owned. The media is controlled. It controls a certain narrative. But in a way, there are many people that are going to have to kind of take responsibility for some of the things that they've done in the past. There's many people that have been killed because of them, to be honest with you. Now, the way that this elite people, the way they work is what they try to do is they try to introduce a problem or emphasize and instigate a problem. Then they pay attention to the reaction and harness the reaction through the narrative of the media, and then they conveniently give the solution. This is a way they could say, well, if we want people to give away if we want martial law and a way for people to give away their power and to just agree to like curfew every night from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., then maybe we could have this problem, harness this reaction and provoke people, instigate people, and then they're going to be more willing to give up their rights. We want people to be open to vaccinations. What if you have this thing that we emphasize that it does exist, you know, it is there, but then we emphasize it, we maintain through the media a certain reaction of fear, and then people are much more open to it and will even shame other people if they don't do it. You see, that's how it works. Now, here's my guess for what's going to happen in the future. They will continue to pull out things out of it's their last desperate attempts of remaining in control. And I believe that so many people are waking up, literally so many people are waking up, that they're not going to have their power, that they're not going to be able to do what they want to do. I think that the end result is very, very good. I think that we will all come together. I think that this will just continue to wake up more and more people. Through all of this craziness, more and more people are waking up. Just like the same thing when people started to question the media with what happened at the beginning of the year. So my guess is that as well, they may try to do something to grab power grab for the election. But I think what is going to happen is I think that as long as we remain in our power and we observe, we are not going to let that happen. So here's what I recommend you do. The next thing that comes up, because there'll be something else that they try to pull, some tricks up their sleeve they're going to try to pull next, because they realize that their power is going away. They've tried to control the narrative for so long. Remember, they try to keep people in fear and anger because they're much more easily able to be controlled. But what happens is more and more people wake up, we're going to begin to observe it. When this began happening, and I was hearing about it, there was something about it that just felt like there's something missing. There's something I'm not aware of. And then it starts to unravel. And I think that will happen again at some level. But our key is to remain in our power the next time something happens, is to observe it from a neutral place. Is to understand that there may be some other intentions in there, but in a way it's a good thing because they're losing their power. It's their desperate attempts. But the thing that actually makes us strong is coming together. It is unity. It is connection. It is remembrance. It is observation and not reaction. If we observe and don't react, they can't play on that energy. So what's next? I don't know exactly what's next, but my guess is it'll be something, but we are going to remain aware. We're going to remain in our power. This is a sign that we are awakening more and more. And part of that sign is that they're doing their best to keep us in this state of consciousness. But guess what? We do not consent. We do not consent. We are too aware. Set the intention right now that we all become more aware. Set the intention right now that we all wake up more and more. Intention is powerful, and us doing it collectively has so much power. So there's a video that I have that are on 3 of the hidden agendas going on right now, where I think that's the video where I also explain more of that Tom Hanks post. You can click it right here. It's also in the top description box below. Other than that, subscribe if you haven't already. I've got a lot more videos on this kind of stuff coming out. Share it if it resonated with you. Like it if you liked it as well. And other than that, as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace, much love, and namaste.